Flight by Robert Boulay, Part 2. We will begin on the same page where the last video ended, and we will begin at the top. He moves through dense, curling fog, lit ghostly white by the moon. He suddenly enters a huge storm cloud. The plane shimmers, moving up and down in the uniform blackness. He wonders, can I fly above it? Slowly he soars to 10,500 feet. Here it is clear, but very, very cold. He extends his arm outside the cockpit and feels stinging pinpricks. He clicks on his small flashlight and peers out. Heavy ice has formed on the plane's wings. He cannot risk his instruments icing up. He points the Spirit of St. Louis back down. The wings quiver as they slice through the turbulent air. The fog continues, but now, at least, the air is warmer. The ice begins to melt and Limburg roars ahead. Through the fog and clouds to Paris over 2,000 miles away. Space and time and deep, deep darkness. It is the other side of midnight, the loneliest hours. Limburg has been awake for almost 50 hours straight. He is closer to Europe than America. Now there is no turning back, only moving forward. He dozes for a minute and then jerks awake. One of the plane's wings is dipping crazily. In a sudden rush of fear, he grabs for his throttle. He gropes for the steady center with his heart pounding. As he feels the leveling wings, he lets out a breath. He repeats over and over to himself, I must not sleep, I must not sleep. Here, high above the churning ocean, to sleep is to die. These are some of the things he does to stay awake. He leans his face near the open window to feel the cold air. He holds his eyelids up with his fingers to keep them from closing. He remembers growing up on a farm in Minnesota. He remembers being a trick pilot and walking out on a plane's wings. He remembers the people in St. Louis who paid for this plane. Sometimes he takes a sip of water from his canteen. He also has 5 chicken sandwiches with him. That is all the food he has brought. But he eats nothing. It is easier to stay awake on an empty stomach. His body cries for sleep. He loses track of time. The night is endless. He wishes for the sun to rise. Dawn comes slowly, growing out of the gray mist. Will the fog never end, he wonders. The clouds change color from green to gray and from gray to red and gold. Limburg has been in the air for 23 hours. He is 2,300 miles from New York and has 1,300 miles to go. He feels completely alone in the world. He feels as if he were flying through all eternity. He tries to stay on course, but because of his constantly curving route, he is not always sure. Here and there, the clouds seem to break away. He sees far below him the ocean. From high up, it is like a giant blue shaft with gray walls. Then he flies into the clouds again, into the unchanging mist. The day comes on, brighter and warmer. Sometimes he imagines he sees land. No, it is only the flickering shapes of the clouds. And water, 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 endless water. It is 7:30 in the morning in New York, and Paris is over 1,000 miles away. There's no alternative but death and failure, he writes. Flying closer to the water, Limburg sights a porpoise leaping above the waves. He spies a seagull. Wow, this must be a good clue to him, because if he's seeing animals that generally are close to land, that should be a clue to him that maybe land lies ahead. Then, fishing boats. Ooh, another good sign. Something quickens in Lindbergh's blood. He guides the spirit of St. Louis carefully down and down to just above a boat. He throttles the plane and calls out a question. "Which way?" he shouts. "Is Ireland?" He hopes for a word. He longs for a wave. A warmer welcome back to the fellowship of men. It is 10:52 in the morning, New York time. Lindbergh sees in the distance low mountains. Now he is awake with new hope. Land is near. He quickly unfolds a map across his knees. He flies over the southern tip of Ireland. He is right on course. Wow, he's pretty strategic in his thinking. Cows graze on green hills. People in horse-drawn carts look up and wave. He could land in Ireland, but he decides to go on. He wants to complete his dream. It is 1:52 in the afternoon, New York time, as he crosses England. It is Lindbergh's 31st hour in the air. He crosses more water. The wide day is slowly ebbing toward twilight. When he sees land, the coast of France, children run out of their houses and watch him fly by. He continues on. Then Lindbergh spies a glow ahead of him. Paris. I am here. I am here. A great joy wells up inside him. For a moment he does not want the flight ever to end. Huddled inside his tiny box house, folded in the dense hum of the airplane's engine, he loves this strange closeness to the clouds and sky. It is 4:52 in the afternoon, New York time, Lindbergh's 34th hour in the air. From above, all Lindbergh sees are many, many small lights. But now he must concentrate on just one thing, the sod coming up to meet me. Closer, closer, closer. The plane touches the ground. It bounces, rolls, hugs the solid earth. It is 10:22 Paris time. The flight has taken 33.5 hours. Thousands of people are running toward the plane. For a moment, Lindbergh is dazed. It seems to him as if he were drowning in a great sea. People surrounded the plane cheering, but Lindbergh can hardly hear them. His ears seem to have been deafened by the hours of roaring engine. Crowds pull him out of the cockpit. Men and women are calling his name over and over. They carry him on their shoulders. Others begin to tear pieces of the plane. More than anything else, Lindbergh wants to save the spirit of St. Louis. His first words are a question. Are there any mechanics here? But no one speaks English. Finally, 2 French aviators arrive to welcome him. Policemen guard the plane. The aviators take Lindbergh away from the still cheering crowd. In the airfield's hangar, he tells the story of his flight to the other pilots. The cramped cockpit, the aloneness, the long, long night. Meanwhile, unknown to Lindbergh, newspaper headlines all over the world are beginning to blazon the news. American heroes safe in Paris. Lindbergh is driven off to the American embassy. He answers more questions about his flight. He has not slept in over 60 hours. Finally, at 4:15 in the morning, he goes to bed. When he wakes, his life will be changed forever. When he wakes, there will be huge parades and medals and speeches. He will be the most famous man in the world. It is the year 1927. It is 1927, and his name is Charles Lindbergh.